Hello and welcome to the program. I am Deji Badimasi. West African states are now beginning to look inwards with a view to solving their own problems. And by that, I mean the issue of human trafficking and irregular migration, which have given the sub-region a very controversial global reputation. To this effect, Nigeria and the Republic of Niger recently signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen cooperation and establish a multi-agency cooperation framework in the fight against trafficking in human beings. This became necessary following the discovery of several routes used for trafficking now between Nigeria and Niger to Europe. Now, being a country of origin, transit now and destination for victims of trafficking, Niger Republic is regarded as a transit hub for West African nationals whose final destination is usually Europe through the Mediterranean Sea, while Nigeria has the highest number of nationals in transit in Niger because of the porous land borders between both countries. Now, the MOU, which was initiated by the International Center for Migration Policy Development, is to suppress, prevent, and punish anyone involved in any form of trafficking. It also involves repatriating abroad people that are found guilty of human trafficking of any form. Joining me now to discuss this further is the former Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition now of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Julie Okadonli. Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us on the program. Could you just help us shed more light on this MOU and how it could help to deal or tackle this issue of human trafficking and irregular migration that has just refused to go away?
Well, I must say that it's a very joyful moment for me because I actually started the talks with the Nigerian counterparts on the need to sign this MOU. And I must give kudos to the now proactive DG of NAPTIP who has seen this dream come true. As a matter of fact, Niger is a transit route where most West Africans pass through to get to various countries in Europe. And so, by signing this bilateral MOU between Nigeria and Niger, it means that Niger and Nigeria can now work together to, counter human trafficking through joint operations, joint, sharing of information, and so on and so forth. The fact that Niger is a transit country is very crucial to this fight, and a lot of Nigerians are stranded in Niger, and those who are not stranded also are able to go through to various countries. Now it's also going to strengthen the border control around there, in the sense that there's going to be a lot of sensitization and awareness campaigns around the border communities between Nigeria and Niger, jointly sensitizing people around there. And this is huge because awareness is key. Prevention is key in all of this. So once this is established, it will really reduce the incidences of human trafficking, at least bring it to the barest minimum, hopefully.
Now, the truth is that we're talking about vast border areas here, and very difficult to police the borders. Even if you were to erect a fence, that would be, well, practically impossible, so to speak, now when you consider the funding involved. And there are quite a number of routes. You think this can help to stem that tide of irregular migration along these various routes?
Yeah, absolutely. That was why I spoke about raising awareness and sensitizing all of those around the border communities. It's going to be a joint effort between the Nigerians and the Nigerians to sensitize those around the border communities. Most people are really ignorant, I must tell you. And so if they raise awareness and they continue to carry out awareness campaigns on the indicators of trafficking, the consequences of human trafficking, people will begin to realize that most of the people that pass through their country are actually victims of trafficking. Then they have helplines that they can easily call between Nigeria and Niger to ensure that the perpetrators are arrested and the victims are rescued and rehabilitated.
Now let's talk about this issue of trafficking itself. One of the reasons why some people have argued that this has continued is because you don't have stiff penalty, for instance, for traffickers, human traffickers. I mean, we've seen situations, for instance, in Nigeria particularly, where traffickers are caught, and at the end of the day, the trial drags on in court, and when it's even concluded, the penalty is not stiff enough. Don't you think in Nigeria, for instance, and probably in Niger too, that we need to work on our laws as well, so that the penalty for human trafficking is stiffer, than it is at the moment?
Well, I tell you that the laws are in place. Implementation is the most important thing. We've had a case of some traffickers that were sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. So really, most of the time, it's left to the discretion of the judge. If the judge thinks otherwise and gives a trafficker 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, there's literally little or nothing anyone can do. Yes, it's very important that these judges be trained to understand the importance of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a very serious crime, extremely serious crime. So judges must begin to, they must begin to train judges to understand that this is a serious crime and that the sentences should be adhered to strictly, because we have the maximum sentences, of course. So the maximum sentences should be meted out to perpetrators of trafficking, and it can be done.
Now, another thing is, it's one thing to sign an MOU, it's another thing to get that commitment. For instance, on the part of Niger, we know that Nigeria is more affected, so to speak. Niger is mainly like a transit route, if you like. So if you do not get that huge commitment from Niger, then it's difficult to see how this MOU would work. How confident are you that that commitment is there on the part of Niger to ensure this works?
Well, the most important commitment you can show is that which has been done already, which is signing of the MOU. Both countries have to be on top of their game. There's so much work that needs to be done. They need to begin to train law enforcement agents. They need to begin to begin to raise awareness in both countries, around the border communities. They must be on top of their game. It entails a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. They both need to be on their toes. That is the only way they can achieve anything. Like you rightly said, signing is one thing, doing the actual job is another thing. I pray and I hope that they're on top of their game to ensure that everyone who has the responsibility to do A or B does A or B, and that they also monitor and supervise those officers who are meant to carry out their various assignments. There's so much work to be done.
Look, in Nigeria, several initiatives have actually been put forward to help stop this irregular migration, to check it. There are quite a number of initiatives, whether by IOM, for instance, or by the organization you led before, NATIP. But despite all of these initiatives, the trend is still not abating, so to speak. Why? What do you think we're not doing right? What do you think has not been done right to check this?
Well, you see, like my favorite quote, I would always say that a fight against human trafficking is a fight that must and should involve the whole of government at all levels and the whole of society. The role of the NGOs, the CSOs, the FBOs, the community leaders, the youth leaders can never be underemphasized. These organizations must bring all of these people together to ensure that we kill human trafficking, because they cannot do it alone. That's just the truth. So it's very important that they begin to do a mapping exercise to identify the NGOs who are championing the fight against human trafficking, both in West Africa and here. And thankfully, yesterday, there was this platform that was launched by the FIAP, and WAPTISOM, that engages the whole of West Africa, to fight this crime. They're going to be on a platform. So I'm sure they can. NAPTIP is also a member of the platform, as well as some very serious NGOs. So leveraging on that platform and with this signing of the MOU, I believe that you'll see a change.
And just before I let you go, I know you run an organization now, and you actually have a foundation that is involved in tackling issues of human trafficking and irregular migration. Could you tell us about that organization?
Well, the Roost Foundation is focused on issues related to human trafficking, sexual and gender-based violence, and irregular migration. We carry out sensitization campaigns, awareness campaigns in the motor parks, in the markets, in schools, just about everywhere where human trafficking and irregular migration is likely to take place. We also have a team of lawyers who carry out pro bono legal services on behalf of victims to file civil litigation cases. Right now we have 5 cases in court and more are yet to come. And so we also give skill acquisition training for victims of trafficking. We give formal education as well. Pretty much, you know, going by the 5 P's, you know, which is the protection, which is the prosecution, and so on and so forth, policy, prevention, and so on and so forth. That is what we are doing, including partnership. We're also partnering with NAPTIP, we're partnering with the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, and all the relevant stakeholders that are, you know, working together in the fight against human trafficking and irregular migration.
Judioka Donley, the former Director General of NAPTIP, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you very much for your time, madam.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a short break now, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now let's continue the discussion on this MOU that has just been signed between Nigeria and the Republic of Niger on the issue of human trafficking and irregular migration. I'm now being joined on the program from Abuja by Osita Osemene, who is the Executive Director of Patriotic Citizen Initiatives, an organization that is committed to fighting human trafficking and, of course, irregular migration. Osita, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let me get your thoughts on this the MOU signed between both countries. Now, how significant do you think that is? As someone who has also been involved, I mean, you tried at some point to move away from this country. You traveled through Niger. So from your own experience, how significant do you think this MOU is?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Adeji. Some of us that have been working in this area, when we heard it, it was we were very happy, and it was a welcome development. In short, we're part of those that witnessed the signing of this agreement in Abuja just a few days ago, last few hours, and it was really exciting, especially for the civil society. You know, it has come a long way to help ensure that the collaboration among government and the civil society between the two countries will now be seen as very, very cordial and will be strengthened because of this agreement that has been signed now, and is going to effectively help the activities of the civil society and government in terms of prosecution, prevention, and rescue of victims. You know, it's also going to improve the quality of delivery and service delivery in terms of profiling the victims of trafficking, because when both countries are working in a cordial relationship with a proper agreement, you will see that prosecution will be easy, identification will be easy, and victims will have fair hearing now. Because countries will be able to apprehend traffickers properly, especially between the two traffickers, and you see that judgment will come so easy. Yeah.
Now, how important is Niger in this whole human trafficking, issue? Because we do know, for instance, that Niger is an important route for irregular migrants, and of course, human traffickers use that route. And you know, at some point, I get the impression that the Nigerian government basically does nothing, because it's like irregular migrants and human traffickers actually have a free rein there, especially when you hear from the experiences of those who have been there and all of that. So, so how important is it that now that Niger is committing to tackling this issue? How will that help? Or should I say, will that help in reducing this wave of irregular migrants now using Niger as a transit point to Libya and to Europe eventually?
Yes, I think what they have done, first of all, let me answer the first question. Niger is a very critical country as it relates to trafficking and irregular migration in Africa, in West Africa, and even in the world, because you all know that a lot of people who have been trafficked, especially through the North Africa, all go through Niger. You can never see any victim who will not mention Agadez or Duruku and all these places are in Niger. So Niger is a very critical country, you know, and what they are, the step they have taken now has shown that they are also worried, and they are also ready to ensure that some of these issues of human trafficking are being brought to the barest minimum. It is one measure that they have shown is a very proactive measure, you know, and they are also not, from what I have seen in this their action, because I met with some of their stakeholders in Abuja here, and I noticed that even them, they have some response mechanism they have put in place, but it may not be enough, because you know that traffickers are working every per second, per minute. You know, they change their strategies, and one of the ways they can also tackle the traffickers is through this agreement they have signed with the countries, so that everybody, all hands can be on deck to ensure that some of these things are brought to the barest minimum. You know that traffickers have gone far. They are far beyond what government, the responses that government have put in place. You know, they change their strategies every day. So I feel that this time they have seen that the strategies they have been using before has not been working. So they felt it's important that they change their strategy and ensure they establish relationship with Nigerian government and the other stakeholders who are working there. And don't forget that Nigeria, the template we are using in Nigeria to fight trafficking is also the same template. When I mean template, the strategy is almost the same thing they are using in Niger. The agency in Nigeria, in NAPTIB, is the same agency that established NAPTIB in Niger Republic to ensure that this issue of human trafficking is being fought by all means.
So with the signing of this MOU now, what exactly from both sides, especially from the Nigerian side, and I'm very particular about Niger because somehow it appears that is where you have a situation that would appear to be out of control. We just can't talk about the number of Nigerians who have died in Niger. I mean, now that's from the experiences of some of these irregular migrants who have come back, and the impression they give you is that you know, it's a free world out there. You know, there's just basically no control. So now with the signing of this MOU, what would you be expecting from the Nigerian authorities?
It's going to improve the relationship, the working relationship between Nigeria, like I said, the agency in Nigeria, the stakeholders in Nigeria with those in Niger. And as you are aware, this agreement has given birth to setting up some task force and committees, different committees, response committees, prosecution, prevention, protection, and the resource mobilization among the two countries. So you can see that this agreement is going to give also rise to ensuring that Nigerian actors, especially the enforcement agencies, can easily go to Niger now and carry out investigations, they can carry out arrests, they can carry out with the support of the Niger counterparts. So it's going to give a lot of leverage in terms of fighting human trafficking. And for me, it's a very good step. It's a giant stride.
So no doubt a very difficult time for human traffickers. A very difficult time awaits them.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's how much we can take on the program this week. Osita Osemene, Executive Director, Patriotic Citizen Initiatives. Thank you very much for your time. All right, I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. The line cut off.